Welcome back to City News. It's Richard Southern here. Usually at this point in the show, we talk about some of the day's top headlines. Well, we're doing something a little different today. I had an exclusive one-on-one with Ontario Finance Minister Rod Phillips earlier in the day. We touched on several topics, including the federal government's move today to top up the pay for essential frontline workers. I asked Minister Phillips who in Ontario will be receiving a wage top-up.
Working with the federal government, we announced, I think it was about a week and a half ago, the people who we are planning to provide that wage top-up for, and very much in collaboration with what the Prime Minister talked about today. So we were focusing on the frontline workers, particularly in the health sector, in the long-term care and retirement sector. So some of the sectors that have been hardest hit and hardest at work.
So a janitor or a grocery store worker, they won't be receiving any top-up then?
Yeah, not at this stage, although people working, doing cleaning and other things inside some of our long-term care facilities would be included. So again, focusing on the areas of biggest need right now.
Is this the biggest economic disaster to ever befall Ontario?
I would say in my lifetime, this is the most difficult economy that I've seen. And that is a result of an underlying health issue that is global. And so it is not just about what's happening in Ontario. People compare this to SARS, and there are some comparisons. But when that happened, and I was around then as well, what happened was Ontario and Hong Kong emerged into a global economy that was functioning fairly well. We don't have to watch too much news down south to see that there's lots of places that aren't doing well. So we are definitely in the most challenging times that I remember, and we will have to account for it later on. But right now we're focused on health and focused on getting the economy.
Are we going to have to hike taxes, do you think, Minister? Is a tax hike necessary here at some point?
We're going to need to get through this first challenge and see what needs to be done and see what the economy is looking like before we make any decisions about how to address that.
My hair's getting a bit shaggy. When can I get a haircut, Minister?
I was going to say something, Richard, but again, these are all great questions. And listen, I wish that I could say to your listeners, this is what the plan is for the date for when we can do these things. We will do that as the health advice allows us. And remember, we're seeing the cases flatten out. We're maintaining the capacity in the hospitals. We're getting better at testing. We're getting better at tracking. These are the things that the government's doing now to make sure that we can do it as soon as possible. In the meantime, there are some great internet haircutting options.
No, thanks. Stats Canada is set to release April jobs numbers tomorrow morning, and no surprise, the minister says he expects them to be very bad. He says he's going to release an economic statement in August, and that'll provide a revised look into the province's finances. You can see my full interview with the finance minister at 680news.com and citynews.ca.